I always dislike stopping at 15 minutes, Vince. It's always changes my train of thought, would be the phrase. Right now, I am sailing over what used to be the civilization known in your records as Lemuria. This was a civilization that was very structured, very orderly, very low rate of violence and what you would now call crime. Very interesting to me as I reflect on that thought. Right now, there is a very rigid structure to your planet, whether you see it or you don't. There is a lot of what you would call law, or what would the phrase be? Judicial systems, courts. However, there still exists an amazing amount of violence and what you would call crime on your planet right now, in various forms. Some, I have to say, I find what is considered criminal actually either doesn't hurt people or benefits some people. It's oftentimes people who very much need the assistance, punished, if you will, on the same level, or even sometimes in a higher level than these crimes of genocide that take place almost daily on some part of Earth, of Delta Sol. And it's allowed to happen by the powers that be here for reasons that escape me, that escape logic to me. And when I speak with members of that community, the true world leaders, leaders of your world, I often ask them, how can you still allow these atrocities to take place? And their answer to me is almost uniformly, the world has gotten too big to manage. They are by nature a small group of individuals. By nature, they don't bring in new members, at least not on a regular basis, I guess would be the phrase to use. They have had their knowledge, their rigid mode of operation handed down to them. Nothing is ever written. It's all handed down verbally from one generation to the next. And from very young ages, these individuals are taught to live almost a life of duality. One life as quote-unquote normal person, and the other life as this member of the global elite, people who actually control your financial systems, who regulate your business. It's often ironic to me as I look at countries in the West who profess to have what they would call free markets. Their markets are very much controlled, oftentimes not by their government. Their government wants to have this hands-off approach and let business run itself. Well, business runs itself best, these people believe, when it's a pyramid structure with a very few, very powerful, very rich individuals at the top, going down into a network of everyone else. And at the bottom are the people that most need to hear what it is I'm talking about. I've spoken to people before as I've traveled around your planet from all walks of life. And I find some who I would consider conscious and some who are still very much unconscious. It's very difficult to awaken someone who has made the conscious decision to remain asleep in a conscious fashion. I speak a lot of this in the tapes that I recorded with Vince and my good friend Prince Nelson in America a month or so ago. Very difficult to convince people. Sometimes they're people who you care about, people who you love, and for one reason or another, their mind does not allow them to explore this possibility. And what I mean by that is explore this possibility that we are all connected, that the fate of your planet is not on an individual basis anymore. You all must stand as one. And many of you, from all walks of life, have chosen to become more aware of what's going on all around you, but that you can only pick up on, you can only sense inside you. And the dreams that many of you are having right now are not uncommon during times like this, during times of great emotional crescendo on your planet, because you're all connected, especially when you dream. You're all feeling this same collective angst of what's coming. And it bothers me sometimes when I speak to people in positions of power, because they too have these nightmares. You refer to them as Jacques referred to things negatively sometimes, with a negative connotation, or the word itself is a negative connotation, when the actual thing itself is very, very important. What you call nightmares, bad dreams, can be some of the most important dreams you will ever have in your life. And let me tell you why. When you dream, it is a different plane of existence. For every being in the universe, it is the same plane of existence. Every being in the known universe that is conscious, that is aware, speaks of dreaming when they sleep. There is a word for dream in every language. Sometimes you, as humans, see things in your dreams that don't make sense, things that don't go together. You see symbols out of place sometimes. Well, these things in your dreams are not put there by your subconscious. They are just there. Your subconscious has very little to do with it. Most humans, when they go to sleep, I notice, develop certain patterns, certain habits that they go through. And they do this most times, I find, because most people want to fall asleep quickly. Those who understand that you can experience what you would call lucid dreaming, being aware and awake during your dreams, understand that to enter that process, you have to go to sleep, you have to enter into sleep in a very slow, not necessarily slow, but ritualistic way. As an anthropologist, that's the term I shall use. Ritualistic way of going to sleep. And as I sit in this boat, looking out this small porthole, the sun begins to shine, and underneath these waters, there exists a treasure trove of archaeological data for your species. My hope, personally, is that one day, through events that hopefully will not harm very many of you, this ancient island will once again be above the waves. And you'll be able to explore some of the remnants of this civilization. Now, people will sometimes get confused in modern times with how old something could be because of a process that you refer to as carbon dating. Your science on carbon dating, my friends, is not entirely accurate. It's accurate to a certain extent, but it has a very difficult window, a gray area, when it goes back into when it's analyzing material that has been impacted by events that you really haven't factored into the equation. The pressure of a lot of ice, miles, kilometers of ice pushing over a landscape can destroy anything humans could put down. Even what would be built up underneath would be compressed and destroyed. It makes great archaeological evidence. And I believe that some is actually being found now as they are working in northern Canada and North America. They've discovered that North America, much like South Africa, being very old rock, contains some material that you humans find of value, mainly diamonds. Never really understood your fascination with diamonds. Diamonds are, I guess, very pretty to look at, but you never ever use them for their intended purpose. Well, I shouldn't say intended purpose. Who knows what their intended purpose would be? Obviously, that's a matter of interpretation. But throughout the galaxy, diamonds are used to store information. They're constructed, but they're used to store information. Now, diamonds that you extract from your planet contain information about the processes that created them. And they contain information about what was going on your planet long before humans inhabited this place. Now, as this information is being discovered, I'm not sure if that's actually the proper way of explaining what I'm trying to explain here. As the potential for storing information in diamonds is discovered and explored in more detail, you can, right now with your technology, create synthetic diamonds. You will be able to store the equivalent of a great many computers. I always hesitate to reference anything with computers. First of all, I don't know much about computers. I know that your world operates on them, and I know that they're all run on a binary system, and that your infrastructure that depends on them is subject to so many common occurrences that will disrupt it, that it befuddles me why any of you put much stock in them. But over time, over the last few decades, your planet has become incredibly reliant on computers. So, people from outside the realm of your scientific community, perhaps beings from another planet, I'm not privy to that information, I'm speculating there, have given hints perhaps, or pointed your scientists in the right direction to help them understand how data can be retained in what you refer to as diamonds. This is very important. Your species relies on this binary data. Everything that you do right now, you do on computers. Your whole planet is run on them. All of your knowledge is being converted to what you consider a digital format. A digital format that can be destroyed by something as simple as an electromagnetic pulse.